Apple's 2024 lineup of watches is here, and with so many options, starting from the cheapest through to the most expensive. And in this video, I want to help you decide which is the best one for you to buy right now, depending on your budget and the features that you want. So unless you want to be caught out by Apple's sneaky, secret but if marketing technique, or want to avoid spending hundreds more than you need to, hold tight and let me explain. To get started, let's just run through which watches are currently available from Apple's own website, from SEs to Ultras. We've got the Apple Watch SE, starting from just $249, which is Apple's cheapest watch. And this is available in 3 different colors, 2 different sizes, and with or without LTE connectivity. Told you it was complicated. Now next is the Apple Watch Series 9, starting from $399, available in 2 different materials, 8 different colors, 2 different sizes, and with or without LTE. And then we have the Apple Watch Ultra 2 at $799, just 1 size, 1 color, super simple. And then finally, the Apple Watch Hermes at a whopping $1,249 in 2 different finishes. So there are a lot of options, and that's not even including the wide selection of bands available, which I won't be covering today, otherwise this would literally take a week to film and make and everything. But I will leave some links down below to some of my favorite brands from Casetify and Bandwork. I'm wearing one right now, both who make beautiful watch bands. But I am going to do my best to run through finding the best watch for you here today. So first up, there is the budget option. Now this is the one where people just want an Apple Watch on their wrist
at a more affordable price.
The cheapest price possible.
It's their very first Apple Watch.
And that is of course the Apple Watch SE, but it's not that simple depending on what you're looking for. Now I would say it's between the SE and the Series 9, because for the extra $150 for the Series 9, you go from a 1000 nit display to a 2000 nit always on display. Now this is probably one thing that is worth thinking about. If you don't live in the UK like we do and you actually see the sun for more than a couple of weeks of a year, the extra brightness will help. And also being always on will avoid you just having to awkwardly like tap your watch or raise it up to check the time. Like really awkward if you're in a meeting or class and you kind of need to do that to see what's going on. The displays themselves are also 1mm bigger on the Series 9, and some might say that every millimeter counts.
That's what she said.
There's also slightly faster performance going from the S8 to the S9 chip. Really marginal in my opinion. You get the double tap gesture or double pinch gesture. Again, not a huge feature in my opinion. Most people who have that feature don't really use it because it's just easier to do that instead, but each their own. Precision finding for iPhone, which works like an AirTag by letting you see how far away from your phone. Again, not something I've ever really needed personally. I find the standard Find iPhone, where you tap a button on your watch and it plays a sound on your iPhone, is far good enough for most people. Now, if you are into your health and fitness tracking, you do get blood oxygen and ECG readings. Personally, I've not used these a whole lot, even on the Ultra that I have here, but if you are keen to track what those are, that might be the reason to upgrade. But one reason to upgrade might be the Series 9 with a temperature sensor, which can track your skin's temperature. Now, if you ever feel like you're coming down with something, you can check on your body temperature to see if it's higher than normal. I've actually used this when on the phone to like doctor surgeries before to help like diagnose if I'm actually coming down with something, and I can just check and go, oh hey, yeah, my temperature's been raised for the last 2 days or so. And also if you want cycle tracking for women, then this also goes hand in hand with that feature too. Now you do get slightly faster charging and also some faster on-device Siri commands, which means Siri can process things faster. And the SE comes with 32 gig of internal storage, whereas the Series 9 has 64 gig, so more space to download music locally if you want to kind of run, or if you don't want to stream things. Now for me, the reasons to upgrade would be the brighter display and the always on display, the temperature sensor, perhaps the blood oxygen and ECG if you care for those, maybe the faster on-device Siri if you tend to use Siri a lot, and maybe the storage space if you want to download stuff locally to listen to it. The only other reason to upgrade, and this might sound silly, is if you want a specific color, because the SE only comes in 3 colors. You get Midnight, Starlight, and Silver, but the Series 9 also comes in pink and product red. You can also opt for a stainless steel version in graphite, silver, or gold, but you're just really buying this for the looks here. There's no real difference in features, or there aren't any difference in features between those kind of two. So once you've decided based on the features, whether it's the SE or the Series 9, there are 2 or maybe 3 more decisions to make. Now you've got the size and whether or not to go to LTE or not. Now size is relatively straightforward. Pay more money, get a bigger screen. Now I've always personally gone for the bigger watch. It's definitely like a trend I've seen with guys going for the bigger watches and ladies going for the smaller watches. But if I wasn't wearing an Apple Watch Ultra most days, I would be wearing the smaller size prioritize Series 9 LTE version because it is just smaller, it's lighter, it's more comfortable to sleep with, and it's more affordable as well. Now, I'm not planning on reading essays on my watch, so I don't really need a bigger screen. I just need to know why my phone's just pinged and whether I need to do something to respond to it. Now, the second question was LTE or not. Now, having LTE on your watch means you can leave your phone at home, but still call, still text, still get notifications, and you can stream music directly from your watch to Bluetooth headphones. So if you do a lot of running, you can run with just your watch and a pair of headphones for actually a really great experience. I've done this before. Again, you get more storage space on the Series 9 to download the songs locally, so it doesn't need to chew into your battery by streaming the songs if you download them before going for a run. Now, the only point to consider here is that neither of these watches will really last for a long time on LTE. It really does chew through battery. Like, I would expect only a few hours on purely LTE. So if you accidentally leave your phone at home and think, oh, that's okay, I've got LTE on my watch, like I've done a few times, you'll find your watch,
but you have 10% battery life remaining, and I can go into low power mode,
is dead before lunchtime. So unless you can connect your watch to something like Wi-Fi or something which will consume less power than LTE, but will still chew through the battery power. But for me, I like being able to go for a swim or a run and just leave my phone in the locker, leave it behind, and still be able to reply to texts or see messages without a phone. And I guess there's a third choice to make as to whether you want to pay the extra for Apple Care as well. And this will depend on your use case. If you work in environments where you're likely to damage your watch, then it can be worth it. But I generally wouldn't recommend Apple Care unless you're going to go for, one of the more expensive options like the Ultra or the kind of higher spec Series 9 watches. But, lots of buts here.
That's what she said, or he said.
But all of that said, if you don't need those upgrades, then the Apple Watch SE is still a stunning watch. Basically, all of the same features at the most affordable price ever. And if you keep an eye on places like Amazon or even Apple's own refurbished section, you may be able to pick up one at an even further discount. Now, the challenge that every one of us here faces, though, is those two words: but and if. But if I get the SE, I may as well get the Series 9. But if I get the Series 9, I need the bigger screen. So to get the bigger screen, I'll get the bigger Series 9. But if I do that, then I also need LTE. So I need the bigger Series 9 with LTE. And all of a sudden, you've gone from spending $249 to $530 just because of a few but ifs. So my advice would be to first set your budget and then decide if you need LTE or not. Then decide on the features you want, which tells you if that's an SE or a Series 9, and then upgrade the size only if that's in your budget. Otherwise, you will find yourself spending twice the amount that you originally planned. Now, before talking about the best premium Apple Watch, if you're not from the UK, this is gonna blow your mind. And if you are in the UK, there's a way you can actually get basically a free Apple Watch Series 9 through Vitality, which is this health insurance policy thing here in the UK. I've had it for the last 8 years or so, I think now. And as long as I do a certain number of steps every day or do like a 30-minute workout, then I get an Apple Watch Series 9 for like £39. But not just that, they also give me a free coffee every week, which would be great if I drank coffee. Also free cinema tickets, free Amazon Prime membership, 40% I think discount on food shopping, 40% off of Garmin, 36% off of a Fitbit, 50% off gym memberships, 50% off like Nike trainers, even like 75% off of like spa days or something, which is just insane. And each month, the discounts are worth way more than the cost of the insurance policy, which I think for me is around about like £50 a month or so. Now, this video isn't sponsored or anything. They've not paid me to say that, but it genuinely is a way to get a very, very cheap Apple Watch, as well as a ton of other discounts as well. Now, I do have an affiliate link because I'm with Vitality and with my watches and things. Now, that also gets you £100 cashback when you sign up. So I will leave a link down below for that one. But otherwise, to most people watching this, I'm sure your mind has just been blown at paying £50 per month for health insurance. But if you're not on a budget and you're looking for a premium watch, there are two options, of course. Now, I say two options because whilst Apple Watch Hermes is an option, honestly, who is going to spend $1,200 on a watch that's going to devalue faster than my commitment to a diet after seeing like a chocolate cake? It's just like when Apple first launched the Apple Watch, there was this $10,000 gold version, I think, that you could buy, which now, just a few years later, is end of life, no longer supported by Apple, and that means it just doesn't get software updates, and it's going to be slow, the battery's going to be awful. So I just don't think it makes any sense to spend that sort of money on a smartwatch, or certainly not one that gets refreshed every year like an Apple Watch does. A timeless watch like a Rolex or something, sure, they hold their value, they don't get worse over time, but not an Apple Watch. So the options are the Series 9, like the higher spec Series 9, or the Ultra for like double the price. So what do you get for double the cost, or almost double the cost, depending on how far up the Series 9 kind of tier you go? Now, you go from a 41 or 45mm case to a larger 49mm case that's made out of titanium. And also based on the durability test we ran recently, I was stunned at how much abuse the Ultra 2 could take. Absolutely fascinating.
It's fine. The Apple Watch Ultra is fine. I feel like we need to run them over again.
I'll link it up here and down in the description somewhere. The 2000 nit brightness increases to 3000 nits, which is the brightest that any smartwatch goes, I believe. Like, it is great, it is noticeable, but I've never struggled with a watch that gets 2000 nits outside. You also get a siren, which can be used in emergencies. The Ultra is also more of a diving watch. It's okay for diving up to 40 meters, so more recreational than kind of pro diving, but it's also okay for high speed water sports, you know, things where water's going to be hitting it at kind of speed and at various angles. Now, this isn't something I use much, and considering you can cover any of these watches with Apple Care Plus, which includes accidental damage, there is even less to worry about with damaging your watch or like a Series 9 or even the SE. Now, the Ultra also has dual GPS, so if you do outdoor sports like running or track running, it will be much more accurate with tracking those runs. And the big upgrade with the Ultra is the battery life, which now runs up to 36 hours instead of just 18 on the SE or the Series 9. Now, in my experience, that means you can use the Ultra for up to 3 straight days without needing to charge. And if you want to use pure LTE with the Apple Watch Ultra, this can last for way longer than the SE or the Series 9. Like, you can pretty much get a full day out of this thing on LTE. Maybe not like 24 hours full day, but 18 or so is definitely achievable. And I actually made a video about using just my Watch Ultra for a full day, including workouts, including navigation, Apple Pay, even kind of using it to unlock my car as well. So I'll link somewhere up here and in the video description if you want to check that one out. But it is easily enough for you to, you know, forget your phone at home, go to work, and then come back home after work without running out if you kind of worry about that. Now, other minor features you get on the Ultra over the SE or the 9, you get automatic night mode, which switches your watch face to this red color, so it's easier to read at night and it doesn't light up the whole rest of the room when you want to check your watch. You get the action button, which you can set to do things like starting a workout or opening an app. You also get dual speakers and 3 mics over a single speaker and mic on the other watches, so you'll be able to just hear and, you know, speak to people more clearly on the Ultra. And the watch comes with LTE as standard. You can't buy an Ultra without having LTE on, whereas you have to choose that as an option on the Series 9, which kind of bumps up the price a bit more. So if any of those features are enticing to you, then the Ultra is basically the only option that you have. Now, whether those features are worth double the cost, it's really down to you individually. Like, now for me personally, if I didn't have this job as like a tech reviewer, I would have gone for the smaller Series 9, but with LTE. Now, I go to the gym every morning. I do like 20 minutes in the sauna, shower, come home, and then I put my watch on charge for the first like hour or so whilst I'm working. I've not needed the siren, but then I'm not climbing mountains either. I don't run outside much. Most of it is doing weights and like inside cardio. I don't dive. The only thing that would make me want to upgrade is the better battery life when only on LTE. But is that worth the extra price? I don't think so. Now, the question of whether it's worth upgrading from an older version can be a bit trickier. Now, I had a Series 7 Apple Watch for a very long time, and I saw no reason to upgrade to the 8 or really the 9. It was really the Ultra that kind of pushed me to upgrade. Now, my wife has a Series 5 Apple Watch, and the battery life on that one doesn't even get through a full day now, so that's kind of a reason. And you could argue that it's better to just pay Apple to replace the battery. But I think if you're going to spend money on something that old, then it's far better to put that money towards a newer watch that's faster, has the updated features, brand new battery in that as well, and just will be supported by Apple for a much longer time than replacing the battery in a much older watch. Otherwise, you'll be spending that money to replace the battery to get what, maybe like an extra year out of the watch before it's just really slow, unusable, out of support, and then you'll end up spending even more to buy the new one in addition to replacing the battery. I'm a huge fan of like spending more now to save later and avoid double spending. So if you are happy with the speed and the battery of your current watch and the features, I guess, there is honestly no reason to upgrade to a new watch. They all broadly do the same thing: tell the time, show notifications from your phone, calls, texts, and unless you want the latest generation features, the health, the fitness tracking, the brighter screens, the better battery life, unless you want some of those, then you're probably okay with the watch you already have on. And if you've got your Apple Watch, then check out this video around getting the most out of your watch. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye-bye.